These pictures of my son and I were from March 2018. My son was a year and a half, and my baby boy was so big, as you guys can see. I had him much longer than a year and a half as well, but these pictures were when he was from when he was a year and a half. And as you guys can see, he's got hair balls. He's got his hair up in little buns because his hair was long and it was curly, and I would condition his hair because it had black in it, and he had very good hair, but you know, it was very curly, and you have to know how to take care of black hair. He was running all over the place. Yeah, people would say looking just like his dad, but he looks a lot like me as well. I would catch him trying to get into stuff, and he wanted to drink out of a cup. Even though he would spill it, I still will let him practice out of the cup. And he was doing very well, as you guys could see. My son was talking. We were reading books. He was saying his name. And I spent time with Cynthia Olvera. Periodically, she would come and we would go out to dinner every now and then so she could see my son, or I would bring my son by to see Austin's side of the family every once in a while. But I was still raising my son in my apartment, and Austin was still in prison. This was at 1301 Houston Street, Conroe, Texas 77301. There was a lot of hostility in the neighborhood from people who were trying to help Cynthia Olvera steal my son from me, and this had been going on a long time in the area where people were being very hostile trying to get this woman, my child. There were girls who were trying to infiltrate my home to try to snoop around and see if there was anything that they could try to find out about me to try to give back to Cynthia Olvera so that she could try to steal my son from me. There were men who were also doing the same thing, and these people were criminals. These people were put up to this, and there were even CPS people who were driving around my home. So there was nothing that anybody could say about me as a mother, as a person, and there was nothing that Child Protective Services could try to paint me out to be either. So I still had my son, but I knew darn well what was going on, and I asked Cynthia Olvera if she had anything to do with it, and she lied about it. It was a very dangerous and hostile environment for me and my son. Of course, everything looks nice, neat, and clean. Yes, I did my part. But in the community, there was a lot of hostility. I didn't talk to anyone, but there was a lot of white people trying to intimidate us and belittle us. Black people trying to intimidate us. People trying to intimidate us. People spying, not giving us any privacy. And Austin was in prison on assault charges, and he was convicted for assaulting a police officer. So at the end of the day, this has nothing to do with what he was doing to me in my home, but he was abusing me as well, and he has a long history of abuse. So for people to have been surrounding my home trying to get my child from me for this villain, this man was in my home tearing down my walls and attacking me while I was pregnant with my child. He was attacking me after I gave birth to my child. He attempted to attack my newborn, and he was attacking my baby when he got out of prison. So for these people to have been surrounding my home while this male was in prison, despite the fact that he put me in the hospital multiple times while I was pregnant with Melbourne, they were surrounding my home trying to find anything that they could try to say about me, and they were creating a hostile environment for me and my child because there was nothing going on. They were trying to do it because he was white and because I'm black. This is why Cynthia Olvera felt she had the power to try to get people to come and take my child from me while my baby daddy was in prison. And they could not do that. He wanted my home. He wanted the things that I had. I kind of already knew that, and I prayed about it, and God showed me why he wanted to keep coming back in my house. Because he kept abusing me, stealing, and robbing from me. Regardless of how anybody felt that I got. If you give me a gift, it's mine. If I work for something, then it's mine. If it's in my name, then it's mine. If I own it, then it's mine. If it's in my possession, then it's mine. I was getting very sick and tired of Cynthia O'Vera smiling in my face. I was getting very sick and tired of this white woman smiling in my face and then hating me because I was black. I was getting very tired of being belittled in my own home and in front of my child for no reason. And I never said anything because I had my own house. I don't got to take your mess up in my house. And then I didn't mistreat nobody. I didn't mistreat my son. We had a good life. But this white woman was jealous. They had all kind of havoc going on at her house, regardless of how much money she talked about she made. Austin was over there abusing people up in her house, and she wasn't really doing nothing about it. See, once I figured out what really was going on, I started letting the police department know what was going on. Because ain't no creating excuses for a grown man that knows what he's doing. And if he went to prison for the first time and he so-called changed his life while he was in there and he got out, whose fault is that to come and get him and make sure that he do what he's supposed to do?